Hello everyone and welcome to the new Honda Pilot, a mid-size SUV that is pretty popular amongst the families, and it's an SUV that is practical and ideal for hauling people and cargo. So in today's video we're going to be finding out everything in detail about this new Pilot, because it also comes now in a new shell and new interiors. So the new Honda Pilot is offered in 4 different variants, which is the EX 2-wheel drive, EXL 4-wheel drive, Sport 4-wheel drive and the Touring 4-wheel drive version. And the particular version that I'm reviewing is the Touring 4-wheel drive, which is the top of the line version. So let me begin from the front. So you get this glossy black grille out here, and the whole front look now is completely redesigned, and which is why you see much more boxier version instead of the rounded off version from the previous generation. So this is the 4th generation of the Pilot. So you get this black glossy grille with this huge Honda badging out here, this chrome strip that goes from one end to the other. At the bottom, this huge bumper out here with this normal plastic grille, honeycomb structure out here with this silver color plastic trim at the bottom, some more chrome strips which are given on either side, and some real normal plastic that has been given out here where it houses these fog lights, which are your LED fog lights that you get on this Pilot. There's also this vent, which is actually a functional vent, so it's like a huge one, so air goes in here, comes out from the back. When you come to these headlights, these are completely LED headlight cluster. The DRLs are given at the bottom, which are again LED. The turn signals are given on top, which are also the LED. There are also cameras that are given out here, and underneath the bonnet sits a 3.5 liter quad cam V6 engine. Now on the sides, the plastic continues out here. Even on these arches there is plastic. At the bottom there is a thick plastic skirting that has been given. It's all made to make it a lot more rugged, and also if you go off-roading, then it's just easier. If you scratch these plastics, then it's just very easier to replace. And you get 20-inch alloy rims out here on this Touring version, whereas the base variant has 18-inch rims. When you come to these side mirrors, these are the chromed ones, like half chrome and normal plastic at the bottom. And then these side mirrors are power foldable. They are also power adjustable, but they don't have the blind spot warning inside them. There is also a turn signal that has been given. There is one chrome strip, a lonely one, that continues from one end to the other on the bottom side. Even out here in the back you have the plastic trim, normal black color plastic, and the bumper followed by that. On top you get black color roof rails out here, pretty tall one, and in fact the car itself is pretty tall if you look at it, like nearly my height. When you come to these doors, these are keyless entry doors, and all the 4 doors are keyless entry doors. So even the rear, there are some very subtle lines on the side, but again it's much more sharper now instead of the rounded version which you saw in the previous generation. And there is also one more small tip that is given out here on these windows, and that is to basically diffuse the air around these windows so you don't get that whooshing noise from here. And it effectively works very well, this tip that is given on these windows. So that's a pretty smart thing, a very tiny detail, but it acts to reduce the whooshing on the inside. There is also a camera that is mounted in the front, which is used for the Honda sensing, which is a part of the safety systems that helps with the cruise control, the lane keep assist, and all your various safety information. Now out here in the back you get a redesigned rear look. So the lights again are much more angular instead of the L-shaped ones which were there in the previous generation, and the tail lights are a mixture of LED and halogen. So the brake lights and everything is LED, whereas your turn signal and the reversing ones are the halogen. There is also this blacked out Pilot badging out here on this glossy black plastic, your Honda badging in chrome, and out here there is the Touring badging and the all-wheel drive. At the bottom, normal plastic bumper with a silver bits at the bottom. Again, that's just easier. If you damage this bumper, it's just very easy to then replace. And then you have 2 exhaust tips with the chrome surround around them, but these are the fake exhaust tips. You want me to demonstrate you that? Yeah, they are not the functional ones. The actual tip is behind, and you get this black color spoiler out here, the glossy black with this LED brake light. And in terms of the visibility, it's actually pretty decent, I would say. It's pretty broad and wide that way because the window is pretty vertical that way, so you get good amount of visibility. And when you come to the boot space, when the rear seats are folded up, you can put 527 liters of luggage in the back, which is pretty big, to be honest, for a mid-size SUV with the third row seats folded up. So you can easily put like 2 small bags or 1 big bag and a small bag. A lot of combinations that you can do. There are also plastic scuff plates that are given so that you don't damage your bumper out here. At the bottom there is some more storage, but that storage houses your off-road kit. So it's very interesting because in the off-road kit you get a lot of things. So if you get stuck, or if someone is stuck, you can use this board, which also acts as a parking triangle that you can use. Then there are 2 of them inside. There is also this rope that is given. There is also this foldable shovel that is in here. There are gloves. There is also 1 more rope. So all of that is given as a part of the off-road kit. So if you get stuck, or if someone is stuck, then you can just pull them out. But that's not it. There is also 1 more pouch that is given out here, which houses a jump starter. So yeah, this may look like nothing, but it's a jump start kit that has been given along with the cables. So you use them to jump start your car. Again, you can help someone else too. And if you're not going to be using that, you can use as a power bank too. So there are 2 USB ports that you can utilize as a power bank. And there's also a light. Let me switch on. You see that? Then it's also got the flashing light, more flashes, and then you can switch it off. So all of that is given out here on this Pilot. So the rear seats are, the third row seats are foldable in a ratio of 50:50. You pull this strap out here and fold them down. Now when the third row seats are folded down, you can put 1373 liters of luggage in the back, and the boot is pretty even and big that way. It's just that it's a little higher, but there's no lip or anything, so it's just going to be easier to slide your luggage in and out. So, and there are some more tying points that you have out here in the back once you fold down the third row of seat, but again, it's just even. Now the second row of seats are foldable in a ratio of 40:20:40, but in order to fold them down, you have to go in the front and then fold them. So yeah, that's a bit annoying that way, but I'm just gonna fold down 2 seats and show you. When the second row of seats are folded down, you can put 2464 liters of luggage in the back, which is humongous storage that you get out here because there are no thicker arches or anything. So you utilize this entire space to put so many things in here, and it's also flat, like literally flat, so you can just put so much stuff in here, literally move your furniture inside this car. I think so you can definitely do that. And the list of features do not end here, because there's something that you can do in the second row, especially with the middle seat. So come with me and I'll show you what you can do with that. So this Pilot is an 8-seater, so 2 people in the front, 3 in the second row, 3 in the third row. You can fit them, but in case you want to just make this as a captain's seat, the second row seat, you can do that, and that's possible. So you fold down this middle seat, and there's another strap that is given out here, and then once you pull that, you wiggle this seat a little bit and you can remove this second row of seat. Now the reason could be that if you want to load something in the middle, I don't know, maybe for that, or you can make these seats, as I said, into captain seats, and now the passengers can just go from here into the third row seats and come out from here quite easily. And this seat you can take and put it in the boot behind the third row of seat, but it is super heavy, so let me just go and put it in the back. Oh gosh, it's heavy. Now on the inside, the Honda Pilot is more about the functionality, because everything is just right where you want it to be, like all these buttons, your charging, your storage, everything, like your little buttons and everything is at an arm's distance. So operating as a driver is also pretty easier on this new Pilot. And the interior has also changed a lot in when you compare it to the previous generation. So let me begin with the material quality. You get soft touch material, relatively soft, I would say. Dashboard out here, even this is a bit squidgy out here, and the door cards, yeah, they are still slightly harder, but they are still squidgy. And on the sides you get this black color design plastic trim out here with this brown color leather out here, and then where you're going to be resting hands, that's again brown color leather. And then these switches have plastic around them, which is kind of normal plastic, I would say. Out here again a bit soft, slightly soft, that's about it on the sides. But the bottom normal plastic, out here normal plastic. This is leather covered, so this is a little softer, so if you bang your head against this, it's gonna be very easy that ways and not gonna hurt you that ways. And at the bottom out here on the door cards, it's again normal plastic. The steering is leather covered. This handrest is, yes, squidgy leather covered. The seats are again made out of leather fabric on top. So everywhere, like, they've given a mix of different sort of materials. Even out here around the air conditioning panel, it's glossy black plastic. So yeah, the material quality, I believe, is made like that because it has to last longer, and this is majorly a family car, which is why a lot of bits are plastic around here, out here, so that they last longer. So it's meant to be more durable. And also, if you look at the dashboard, it's not like curved in that sense, but it's more like boxy and angular, just like the exterior design. So you would notice like it's much more leaner, and that gives you more space even in the front too. Now when you come to the driver's display, you get a digital driver's display on this new Pilot, and the functions are very similar to the other Honda cars that are currently available, being the new ZR-V. The full detailed review of that you can find on the link out here, so if you want to watch that. But if you're going to stay around, then yes, let's continue. So you get two traditional dials on both the sides. On one side, left side, is your RPM, the right side is your speedometer, and you can press the cruise control button, and then that shows you like a digital car in the middle, which mimics all your lighting system. So if your headlights are on, if you're turning, if you're reversing, all that lights are displayed out here. And also if you're in the cruise control, shows you vehicle in real time using that Honda sensing. And also the dials become slightly smaller. And the left side dials, in the middle you can change some information. There's a dial given out here on the left side, so you go there, you can see your phone, FM, DAB, AM, USB, Bluetooth apps. You can customize the display, whatever is shown you can hide and show, or you can go back and then you can see your audio and clock all the time. So you can have that or just leave it blank, because I like just like a normal dial in this side. And then on the right side you can again change fair bit of information using the dial given on the right side on your steering wheel. So you can see your trip A, trip B information, then you go down again your average consumption, trip A, trip B, then you go down your navigation, then there is your driver safely, your driver attention monitor basically, then your drive, basically 4-wheel drive, which wheels are powered, safety systems, tire pressure monitoring system, safety support, or you can leave it in blank, or you can do the brightness adjustment. And then you have the heads up display that you can change the adjustments. You can go inside and all the settings are in there. I'm going to come to that. Then your instrument display setting, then there also you can hide and show different options that are given. Then you go down, there's also gauge design, so you have 4 different gauge design options on your driver's display: round, bar, round, cruise, where it will disappear the other dials on both the sides when you're in the cruise or the bar mode. So the round one is what I feel is just about perfect. I like the traditional look on it. And then you come back, you're in that same trip information. So that's basically your driver's display, that you can change everything from here. And there is also a heads up display, as I said, pretty big and clear. And then when you have the navigation switched on, if you're doing some maps, then it shows you even the guidance in there. Or you can even change the different options that are visible on your heads up display. You go again into the settings, and then you have the heads up content where speedometer, navigation, driver assist, or you can switch it off completely, so you can do that from here. Then there is brightness and the height that you can adjust from inside. So that's how you change all the heads up display, but it's pretty bright, which is what I like, and it's pretty simple that way and not too much information for you to see. Now when it comes to the steering wheel, this is a big leather covered steering wheel in black color, and there are some plastic bits at the bottom, shiny ones, and there's Honda badging in the middle. There are also paddle shifters that are given, plastic ones, again tiny because there are 10 gears on this one, so not sure if you're going to be using that, because if you do, then you're going to be using a lot of these paddle shifters. And then the steering wheel is adjustable, tilt and telescopic both, so you can find your right driving position in here and lock it in place. And on the right side you would find the buttons for your adaptive cruise control, your lane keep assist and everything, and also to change the settings on your driver's display on the right side, that gauge. And on the left side you would find the controls for your media and your communication, and also to change the information on the gauges on the left side, so you can do that from here. So that's your steering wheel, which is pretty good and handy. I would say it's soft, squidgy that ways, and once you place your hand on it, it feels really solid that ways. And when it comes to the air conditioning control, straightforward button operated air conditioning system is given on this thing. So in the middle there is on and off dial that has been given. On either side there is temperature dial that has been given to adjust the temperature. So you get tri-zone air conditioning system on this Honda Pilot Touring, and there are more buttons given on either side for the flow of air and everything. And at the bottom there is also the rear adjustment of your air conditioning, so you can switch it on and off from here, the rear control, and then with the center dial you can control everything, and the temperature on the driver's side, and then you can even lock it up. So all that you can change from here. And also the air conditioning panel is actually inclined a little bit upper side, so there's a bit of an angle given to it so that you can easily look at it when you're driving. That's actually another thing that is pretty good in here, because you can easily see all the information in here instead of the flat way where the air conditioning dials and buttons are given out here. It still faces with some of the sunlight glare out here, especially with this glossy plastic, but nonetheless I like this way of giving a little bit of an angle out here. And then there are also buttons given on either side for your ventilated, cooled and the heated seats, so you get both these options given on either side out here. Now when you come to the infotainment screen, you get 9-inch colorful display on this new Pilot, and then there are straightforward menu options given on your screen, and you can even long press these options and customize where you want to see them and adjust them accordingly. But if you're not going to be doing all of that, then you can straightforward start operating, and it's pretty decent. I like this system anyways. Like, it's pretty light and you can easily just figure your way around. It's very straightforward given all your options on your screen, and they are all color coded, so it's just easier to know what option is for what, like your settings or your media, and everything has color coding. And then your first option is your all apps, where you can tick which options you want to see on your main home screen or the menu options that you see. Then your phone option, and there's also a cabin talk feature, so which is there in even the previous generation of the Honda Pilot. Now if you hear my voice, it's being echoed because whatever I speak is also relayed to the passengers in the back. So everyone please belt up, because we are going to be going on a long journey. Hey, you on the third row, please. So you can speak to the passengers in the car like this and go back, and then if you don't want to, then you can just, everyone can hear, but then still if it's a noisy cabin, then it's a good feature. Then there is Bluetooth audio option. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect this infotainment system using the Bluetooth, there is USB, and there is wired Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. So for some reason there's only wireless CarPlay. Then there is the inbuilt navigation system, which is, I would say, it's pretty snappy. It takes a little while just for the first time loading, because it's just loaded for the first time, but then once you go back and then again you start to load again, it's pretty snappy. The next option is your smartphone connection, which is your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Then the multi-view camera, so you can call on your 360-degree camera system from here. Then your next option is your general settings, where you will find your system, smartphone connections, display, sound, camera, voice, and everything. Then your vehicle settings, where you will see your driver assist meter, all your driver's display setup that you want to do, driving position setup, your key setup, lighting setup, door and window setup, and your power tailgate setup. Then your trip computer, trip A and B that you want to see. Then there is the USB, AM, system updates, clock, display mode, where you can adjust the brightness of the screen, and the last is the traffic announcement. And there are also more options given at the bottom for your navigation, phone, FM, Bluetooth, DAB, and the display option. Again, that also you can long press and customize from here. Those are your quick options, so you can just customize. And there are also buttons given on the sides for your volume. There is like a dial that has been given, pretty handy, so it's right next to you. And there's also a back button and the home button. And unlike the new Accord, where those buttons are now in your touchscreen itself, so you can click on the pop-up banner out here and you can watch the detailed review of the new Honda Accord that I have recently reviewed, and there the buttons were given inside the touchscreen. But on this, it's more traditional, where the buttons are still here, and the infotainment screen itself is pretty floating that way, but it's not above the eye level where it will hinder your visibility, so it's still way below in that sense. There are also air conditioning vents given out here in the middle and on the either side, so the middle bits are like normal plastic ones that are given in here. Now when you come to the charging, you get one standard USB port and one type C USB port that is given out here in the front underneath the air conditioning control, and one 12-volt power socket. There is also a wireless charger that is given underneath of that. There are also two normal USB ports given for the second row of passengers, and there are two more normal USB ports that are given on either side for the third row of passengers. Now on this Honda Pilot, you get an SOS button, which is an emergency button, and the sun visors are also extendable because these doors are quite huge, so you need that, even though these sun visors are pretty long themselves. And you get a panoramic sunroof on this Honda Pilot, so yeah, that makes things pretty airy in here. Now when you come to the storage, that is where this Honda Pilot shines, because just like the previous generation, this Honda Pilot is loaded with a lot of storage. So you can put, let me count the cup holders because I forgot to count that. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 cup holders. I'm going to come to that as we go along, but yeah, 2 cup holders which are given on either side in the door cards, and some more storage on the sides, and then there are like double layered storage. There's more storage at the bottom, but in the cup holders you can put about 1 liter water bottle. That's about it. There is also these 2 flexible cup holders that are given out here, which are pretty deep enough that way, and yeah, easily hold all your bottles and everything. There is also this slot where you can put your phones or wallets or something. There's also this glove box which is decently big. There's also this slot where you can put your phones when they are charging. You can utilize this wireless charger, and there is some more storage on the side also to put your phones and wallets. There's this huge center armrest in which you can easily put about 6 half a liter water bottle, a slot for your phone. So that's just in the front. There is also this sunglass holder, but if you just flick it a little upwards, it locks itself in place, and you can see there is like a curving mirror, so you can observe the passengers in the back, wherever they are sitting, or if you have a baby or a child seat, you can observe your child from here. So it's like a built-in feature inside, so it's usable in dual ways. You can even store your sunglasses and everything. And in the second row of seats, again, you have 2 cup holders given on either side in the door cards, so that cup holders you can even use to put bottles, again 1 liter water bottle. And in the center armrest, you again get 2 more cup holders, but again, if you remove that center seat as I had explained you, then you don't have those 2, but which is why they've given 2 on either side additionally, so that's another plus point. Then in the third row of seat, again you have 2 more cup holders on either side that are given for the third row of passengers. Now on this new Honda Pilot, you get 9-speaker Bose music system, and this is on the touring version. So the speakers, 4 of them are in the front, and the rest of the speakers are scattered in the back. There's one more speaker given out here in the dashboard also. And in terms of the cooling ability from this air conditioning, it's actually very good. Honda air conditioning systems is very good. So the moment you get in, like 2 or 3 minutes, and it just becomes very cool on the inside. Plus you have tri-zone, so even the second and the third row easily cools down. And there are also these ventilated seats, pretty useful options when you have summers, but thankfully now we are setting into winters, so we don't need that option anymore. Maybe heated seat options maybe on some very cooler days, but yeah, ventilated seats are there on this Pilot. Now when you come to these seats, you get brown color leather seats with this black color bit in the middle on the backrest and also at the bottom, and these seats are pretty broad that way. Again, same from the previous generations, they were pretty broad in that sense. They are slightly on the harder side is what I find, especially the backrest. That's a little harder, that's the only thing, but there's decent amount of under thigh support in here. And then you have these two headrests. Again, they are also covered in brown color leather with the black color piping on the seats, also on the sides, and there is good amount of side support. And at the bottom, yeah, it's a little flatter that ways, but again, that's to make them a little broader. In terms of the adjustability, the driver side seat is 8-way electronically adjustable and 2-way lumbar control, whereas the passenger side seat is 4-way electronically adjustable. Now in terms of the gear shifter, instead of a stick out here, you get these button operated gear shifter. So it's basically shift by wire, so straightforward. You can put it in drive, neutral, reverse, and the parking. You have to get a little used to these buttons when you're on the move, but essentially it gives you that extra bit of space in here and feels a little more spacious too. There's also another switch that is given out here for your drive mode, so you get 7 different driving modes on this Pilot. So you get your sport mode, normal mode, eco, snow, trail, sand, and the towing mode. So these are all your 7 different driving modes that you get on the new Honda Pilot. Now Honda Pilot is known for being one of the most spacious mid-size SUV, and that also continues in this newer generation because it's ever so slightly longer than the previous generation by about 9 millimeters. But the driving seat is in my driving position, so you see there's a lot of knee room in here, and also the headroom is pretty decent. Someone about 6 feet will easily be able to fit in here. The only thing is that these seats are a little on the lower side, and that is why there is a bit of head space that you get, and you sit quite low down for sure into these seats. And you can see the angle that my legs are making. There's not enough of support underneath my thigh, but nonetheless you can accommodate taller people out here into the second row, and even you can slide your legs under the seat during the longer journeys. There is enough of gap in there where you can slide your legs. And in terms of these seats, you get the same brown color seats out here with the black color strap in the middle on either side of the strip with the black color piping also. And on either side the seats are also perforated, but they are the heated seats and not the cool seats for some reason. And there is also this middle seat out here. There is no tunnel in here, instead it's just the flat floor that you get. So when you sit in the middle, yeah, it's still pretty decent, I would say. And the backrest is also pretty comfortable in that sense. Yeah, it's much softer definitely, so you can have like third passenger sit in here, because this Pilot is treated as an 8-seater. So yeah, 8 people can fit into this vehicle, and that is pretty amazing, I would say. Although yeah, some people have to be slightly lean in order to fit into these seats. And when you come to these seats, actually these are also the slidable seats on either side, but not the middle one, because the middle seat obviously you can just remove and completely discard it, and you can make these seats into the captain seats also. And I think you can even adjust the rear backrest also. You can recline it a little bit, so you get much more comfortable position when you are sitting in the second row. Obviously when you don't have the passengers in the third row, that's where, or if you want to provide extra bit of room for the third row of passengers, you can slide these seats ahead. And it's also very easier to fold these seats, because there are levers and buttons and everything is given. And also if you want to go behind, there are buttons given so that these seats electronically just slide and fold away for you. There are also these sun protectors that are given, blinders. So yeah, again, you have a baby or a child in your bag, then you can just lift them. So that's also pretty cool. And the door cards are made out of plastic now, normal plastic, and on the sides you have this again harder plastic, and where are going to be resting heads, that's brown color leather covered, that's soft, but around these switches again normal plastic. Even at the bottom there's normal plastic on the other side also. And as I said, you get two cup holders and some more storage on the side, where you can put, like in this you can not just put 1 liter but maybe 1.5 liter, because it's just very vertical, so you can definitely put more. And then there are these pocket storage in the driver and the passenger side seat, and there's also a smaller pocket for your phones, so they've given that also, so you can put your phones in there while they are charging, because you have two normal USB ports that are given out here. And also there's another small pocket storage given on the top side of the seat, where again you can put your phones while they are charging, or you can just leave them there while you are watching something. There is this center vents that are given out here, so there are just two vents which are given for the second row of passengers, and then there are controllers that are given at the bottom, the buttons, so you switch it on and off, and then you can adjust the fan speed or the temperature in here, and then the flow of air and everything. And on either side there are buttons given for your heated seat, as I mentioned. And the middle seat also has child isofix points apart from the two seats on either side, and also there's child isofix point in the third row seat in the right side. But let me go into the third row seat and show you what it's like out there. Now in the third row things are a bit narrow, but definitely they are spacious, so there is enough of knee room in here, about 2 or maybe 3 fingers worth of knee room. And the headroom, again, that's also pretty decent. Someone about 6 feet will be able to sit in here. Yes, that's also possible. And the thing is, the seating position is nearly identical like how it was in the second row, although slightly on the lower side you feel on these seats. Again, the angle that my legs are making, that you can see, there is literally no support underneath my thigh. And the seats out here are brown color leather seats with this black strap again, and they are not perforated but just plain seats that are given. Again, as I said, this is an 8-seater, so passenger in the middle also can sit. There's also a seat belt that is given, but it's a bit too ambitious, I would say, or someone has to be very lean to be sitting in the middle. But nonetheless, there is space for proper adults to sit in here, which is pretty surprising. Usually, yeah, the third row is most of the times not very usable, and you still have a lot of boot space also back there, and you can even slide your legs under the seat in here too. And you can even adjust the backrest on this thing, so you can make it upwards, or you can lean back a little bit. You can recline that also. There are the straps that are given out here, so you can adjust. There are also two cup holders given on either side, normal ones, not the flexible ones, but there are two air conditioning vents given out here for the third row of passengers, so things are going to be cooler out here for the third row of passengers. Also during the summers, there are two USB ports that are given to some big windows in here, and it goes very well outside, so it makes it feel very spacious out here in the third row also. So overall, I think this is a very good arrangement on this new Honda Pilot. And in order to come out from the third row of seat, there's a button given out here behind the seat, or also at the bottom on the second row of seat, so you can press either side. Obviously you can't press it from there. If you want to go in, then you can press that button, but if you want to come out, you press this button, and the seat slides and folds away electronically for you, and then you can come out easily from here. The ingress and the egress is also easier, so that's pretty wide that way. So all in all, this third row is pretty usable on this new Honda Pilot. So this new Honda Pilot is powered by a 3.5 liter quad cam V6 engine that produces 285 horsepower and 355 Newton meters of torque, and this engine is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission that sends the power to all the four wheels, so you get all-wheel drive on this Honda Pilot Touring. And let me first come to the engine and the gearbox, because that's a very decent combination that you get on this thing, because this car is pretty big, and to power this thing and move it ahead takes a little bit of a force. And initially the engine does tend to be a little laggy and a little lethargic when you start accelerating, but once it starts going, it's very smooth. The gear shifts, the downshifts and the upshifts both are super crisp, and you just don't feel that you're going through 10 gears, but you will feel if you go through with the paddle shifters. And right now the car is in the normal drive mode, and if I put it in the sport, it makes the car a little more aggressive in terms of its throttle response and also the gear changes. But I like the overall engine and the gearbox combination. It's ample for day-to-day running, and in terms of the efficiency from this engine on a longer runs, you will get anywhere around 9 kilometers per liter, and inside the city you will get between 7 to 8 kilometers per liter, which is expected from a car this big and with a 3-liter V6 engine that's fitted on this thing. Again, the engine is rather very smooth. I like the output from that. It's very even. The power curve is very even, although the power really comes in at the maximum power comes in at 6,000 rpm, around that much. So yeah, it takes a little while to turn that maximum power. When you come to the suspensions, they are on a very comfortable setup on this Pilot. Again, this is a very tall car, but yet I don't feel that the car has a very higher the center of gravity. So on this thing, it's way like in the middle, and again the suspensions help give you a very comfortable ride too. They are soft, and there is a bit of a roll, I will admit, because it's a big SUV, so there is that roll, but nonetheless on a day-to-day driving it's very comfortable, and it's also very quiet, and you are cruising quite comfortably in this new Pilot. And when you come to the steering, that's the thing that has a little bit changed on this new Pilot. So you get a electronic steering, but the feel from that is very light. The steering itself is very light, so you don't feel that you're moving such a big car around, but it's still very responsive. You know what's going on, and you get decent amount of feedback from this steering, but it's just that it's a little light, and the steering ability has definitely improved on this new Honda Pilot. Honda has worked on this for sure, so that helps you. And club with this suspension setup also, yeah, it really helps give you that very enjoyable ride on this new Pilot. Now in terms of the off-roading abilities, this Honda Pilot will be able to do light bit of off-roading, I believe, because it does not have the all-terrain tires or anything. It's just got the normal road going tires, so I did not want to try it off-roading, but it will do light bit for sure where there is a bit of loose gravel, because you obviously have the all-wheel drive and the clever functioning where it will distribute the power, so you can put it in the sand mode. It's also got that. Now when you come to the brakes, you get 4-disc brakes on this new Pilot, and in terms of the performance from that, it's rather decent, and it takes a lot of force to obviously slow this big vehicle down, but the brakes do a good job, especially the disc brakes, and the setup is also pretty balanced. The pedal is pretty even, and it's very progressive in that sense. Now when you come to the noise and the vibration, there is not much noise that way. It's just sometimes when the engine is stressed out, when you try to accelerate, yeah, it just screams a little bit, although that was a little bit too harsh acceleration. But yeah, let me show you. There's that bit of just a little bit of that noise from that engine, but that's about it. There's no wind whooshing as such. There's no tire noise or anything inside. In fact, it's a very pleasant cabin experience that you will get on this new Pilot. And in terms of the build quality, it's meant to be more rugged, so everything is pretty solid in here, so nothing is rattling or loose inside the cabin. Now when you come to the safety systems, you get 8 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passengers. There are also 2 curtain airbags that are given in the frames, and there are also 2 airbags given for the driver and the passenger, the knee airbags that are given. There is also child isofix points in the second row of seat, all 3 seats, and there's also 1 child isofix points, as I said, in the third row seat on the right side. There's also this very crisp 360-degree camera system. So again, that has also improved on this generation of the Pilot. It's very smooth. You can even select a couple of angles if you want to see the wide angle, or if you want to see the narrow angle. You can see all of that, and just straightforward you can click. And then there is also the adaptive cruise control. There is also the lane keep assist, and that also works pretty fine on this car. I've tested it. It just maintains the distance very well, and sometimes sudden occasional jerking here and there in terms of the braking action, because it's in adaptive cruise control and autopilot, so it does that little bit of that thing. But yeah, it's pretty well behaved still in that case. It's just that when I'm driving and I have just the lane keep assist on, it tries to correct me a little bit too aggressively. That's the only thing. It wouldn't let me control it all by myself, so I had to just switch it off. There is also the ABS, there is also the EBD, there's also traction control system, and then you have the different drive modes in here. And it's just that I miss the blind spot warning, because on such a big car the blind spot warning would be, easier in that sense if that was given. Now when you come to the pricing, so the base variant of this new Honda Pilot comes in at 174,900 dirhams, which is the EX variant. Then you have the Sport variant, which comes in at 197,900 dirhams. Then you have the EXL variant, which comes in at 207,900 dirhams. And there is this touring version. Now the pricing of this particular variant has not been given to me, but if it is, then it's going to be showed on your screen right now. But if it's not, then I don't have. But I'm assuming you can add around 7 to 10,000 dirham additional on top of that, so you can expect this model to be around 215-ish thousand dirhams, around that mark. Now in terms of that pricing, this is a pretty great option. Now this is a tried and tested car. It's loved by families, and it's spacious. It's got new looks. Now it's subjective if you like the looks or not, but it's got the new look, so it's completely new. And there's also new interior experience. You get now this infotainment screen. There is also the new dynamics on this car, and definitely feels much more improved in terms of its handling, in terms of the comfort levels. You have the new Bose music system in here. There's also the driver's display that is digital now. So there are lots of upgrades that you see in here. Then let's not forget, it's got 3 rows of spacious seat and some pretty practical uses of the arrangement, where you can remove the seats and everything. So it's pretty ideal for bigger families, and it still remains to be one of the most sought after mid-size SUVs in its segment. And for that reason, you should definitely check this car out and see it for yourself for what it has to offer, because it will definitely serve and take a lot of your points that you are looking at in a mid-size SUV. Now that is pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for watching this video. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and drive safe.